And pleasant good morning, good afternoon here on Hit Mix 88.9 WEIU. I'm Rameen Karbassioon, filling in for Jeff Owens on Issues and Attitudes, and we are here on this next to last Monday of 2024. And last week we were talking the city of Mattoon, recapping 2024 and looking ahead to 2025. And so this final show, we're going to do the same for the city of Charleston. And we welcome back to the program from our guest, the mayor of Charleston, Dr. Brandon Combs. Brandon, great to see you.
Good to see you too, Rameen.
And city manager for the city of Charleston, Scott Smith.
Great to see you again.
Glad to be pinch hitting for JO today and talking with you guys. The last time Jeff had you guys on was at this time last year. I think it was just Scott solo, so good to see you healthy and well, Brandon, and having you guys on. We have a lot of things on Jeff's list of questions here, and we're going to kind of go through in that order, follow his lead. And it's been a busy 2024. I live here in the city of Charleston, so I see on a daily basis a little bit of everything that's going on here. Before we go into specifics, give us kind of a lead-in comment on your overall thoughts on 2024. We'll start with Brandon.
Honestly, 2024 has been amazing. I mean, we've seen so much change. We've seen new businesses, empty buildings for 25 plus years get taken down. It's honestly 2024 has just been it's been a great year for the city of Charleston. So,
all right, Scott.
Yeah, I would echo that. I know from just the pure volume of permits and the work that the guys have done over in the planning and development department, they've definitely been busy, and that's certainly not taking anything away from our folks. Sidewalk infrastructure work continues out at the park, and but everything, like the mayor said, everything on Lincoln Avenue is refreshing, and it's exciting because, like he said, a lot of the buildings and things have come down that have been kind of sitting there empty for a long time, and we've got some new business in those spots, and that's really, really nice for the community.
We're talking the city of Charleston here on this final Issues and Attitudes of 2024, and Scott and Brendan, let's dive right into these list of questions that Mr. Jeff Owens had listed for us. So let's talk about Coles County property taxes. They are up.
Yeah, I mean, as far as when you say they're up, and I don't know what Jeff meant by that, but, the city's tax rate is yet to be finalized until the equalized assessed valuation is final over in the assessor's office. But looking forward to getting that all hammered out over in the county assessor's office this spring. But based on our estimates, we believe that the city's rate will be actually flat or less than it was the prior year. And there's several factors in that, one of which being that the library bond is being retired and will no longer be on the city's tax rolls. Mm-hmm. So that will definitely help. And then just the rate that we put forward in December that was approved by the city council, that coupled with a higher EAV is likely going to keep our tax rate very similar or less than it was the prior year.
Okay. Next, a grant for pickleball. And pickleball is something that I've seen in a variety of communities on the program that I produce, City Spotlight. And so pickleball in Charleston, talk about that grant.
Yeah, very exciting news. Diane and Steve Pamprin worked very closely together earlier this fall. Actually, I think it was about August. Spent a couple weeks putting together a proposal that was submitted to the Illinois Department of Natural Resources for their OSLAD program, which stands for Open Space Land Acquisition and Development. It's a pass-through program managed by the state of Illinois by the Department of Natural Resources, and we had submitted that grant application for the pickleball project out at Linder Sports Complex.
Nice.
And in hopes that we might be able to get some funding to help support that endeavor. And we knew we were in pretty good shape sometime in October, November, when Diane, I think, got an email indicating that we'd kind of made the initial review or cut, so to speak, and really didn't anticipate hearing anything until latter part of January when the annual conference is held in Chicago for park districts and recreation agencies at the annual IPRA conference. But lo and behold, we got word just last week that we were a recipient of the $600,000 grant from the state that'll be used towards the development of the new pickleball facility at Linder Sports Complex.
Brandon, it's an easy follow-up for me. The Linder Sports Complex is one of Charleston's newer additions in the community, still not super old, so I can still say it's new. And just a wealth of sporting activities and events that have been held there. And to see something brand new like that continue to grow, it's got to feel really good about something that's just really new to the city of Charleston.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I know Scott's been working on that property out there for 20 years, Scott.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy to see it come to fruition with the time that, Scott's here. But yeah, having young children and young nieces and nephews that are playing soccer. My son never played soccer. I never played soccer. But I mean, not just that, but like even the walking trail. I mean, my wife and I, like you, we don't live very far from it. It's always getting used. I mean,
yes.
And there's so many people out there all the time. And so, when I drive by that, it's, I look at these type of things that have happened. And I'm going to be honest with you, the city of Charleston, we're not the best at tooting our own horn, but when you drive by there or you're out walking, like my wife and I, like I said, we like to go out there walking, and you take a look at this, you take a look at the lake, you take a look at the things that, have been taking place, and it's easy to sit back and I'm just like, well, these are the things that we do. But honestly, as a community, this is what we've done. This is our vision for our community to help grow, and this brings more people here, economic growth, and and so it for us it seems kind of easy, but then when people bring it up and they want to ask us about it,
right.
It's a huge. I mean, this is a big deal. It really is. And then with pickleball, the fastest growing sport in the nation, I mean, it's going to be. What we're going to be able to build out there is going to be state of the art. I mean, we're talking, some of the top notch in the state, if not in the whole state. I mean, we're looking at some amazing growth out there. So,
very good. I mean, the pickleball craze is real. It's amazing how in the world that we live in, traditions, new things that come about. One does it, another person sees it, and the next thing you know, we have 5 communities in our 50-mile radius.
I mean, we played it in junior high and high school. I think.
Clunk, clunk, I think is the sound that makes.
Yeah, I know. And now my middle daughter is a junior in high school. She asked for Christmas for pickleball paddles, and I'm like,
and they're not the wooden ones.
They're not the ones that you and I used with Coach Harpster. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Very good. I can picture those days very fondly. All right. From one grant to the other, let's talk about the grants involving Charleston Fire and Police.
So we were the recipient of a grant from Coles County. They used part of their ARPA funding to help the city of Charleston fund the installation of some new generators at several facilities that we've really been trying to get accomplished for quite some time. So we're installing a couple of generators at the 2 fire stations, one at each station. They're already installed at this point. There's a few little minor details yet to be done to get those fully functional and operational, but it's nice to have both of our fire stations in a situation to where now if we have a power loss that both stations can operate, communicate, and still run. And when you house people there 24/7, that's vitally important as well. So both stations are now going to be fully equipped with full backup generation power, which is great. We also installed a generator out at the Douglas Water Tower, and that's really important for a couple of reasons. One, having the telemetry and having the ability to monitor the tower and all that from the water plant is important, but more importantly really is the ability to keep our communications up and running. That's the tower that all of our police and fire communications work off of. And so in situations where we've had power losses in the past, someone from the fire department's had to take a portable generator, run out there, fill it with gas, plug it in, hook that up to the network, and then power our network gear back up. And so that eliminates this. It's automatic. And obviously a much better situation for police and fire and for our staff to not have to mess with. So that's vitally important. That was really at the top of our list. And then additionally, putting in backup generation that'll help keep police and fire as well as City Hall open for business, so to speak, in a situation where we have a power outage. So again, vital infrastructure, having the ability to have backup generation power is really, really important. It's something that we've wanted to do for a while. We had it at the City Hall, but it was not sized to where we could really do everything we wanted to do. So.
Next set of grants, I have this theme of grants here to start off, trail system grants.
Yeah, so we've been looking at additional grant funding to help with supporting some of the additional infrastructure needs in and around the trails. Again, from time to time, we'll apply to the state, for additional funding for trail work. And every cycle, we always apply for that also. And of course, with the ITEP grants that we've received in the past, we'll probably put in for another ITEP grant in the future for additional work. But we also received a grant last year, I guess it was 2 years ago, that enabled us to do the facility at Loxa Road. So we constructed a restroom facility, sort of a midway pit stop, if you will, with a nice parking area, some beautiful landscaping, a sculpture out there. It's just a really nice place to stop along the trail between Mattoon and Charleston, to be able to stop in there and use the facilities, take a break, get some water, that type of thing. And so Steve Pamperin and our Public Works Department did a phenomenal job on that. And we received about $125,000 in grant funding to put that together.
I think that's an easy one to follow up on, Brandon, kind of about what the last question that I asked you here a few minutes ago is with the outdoor concentrated effort with the outdoor work, the lake trails and whatnot, continued growth. You just continue paving forward with the trails and outdoor things that people like to enjoy.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, more and more people are into that. I mean, that kind of stuff. It's getting used. We talked about Linder. You talk about out there. I mean, those trails, and then even going. You can walk all the way around the whole lake now, and it's beautiful. I don't know if you've ever been out there, and especially in the fall time. I know my wife and kids want to go out there all the time. It's because it's absolutely gorgeous. Whether you enjoy the trails and biking on those, you can still walk around the lake now. And I mean, when I was a kid, we couldn't do that. If we wanted to fish on the other side of the lake, you'd try to find someone with a boat, or you just weren't going over there. I mean, there's just a ton more traffic out there, and it just keeps people active, and it gets them outside, gets them some fresh air and vitamin D. It's just overall, it's just I mean, I can't say enough for all of this that has happened, and Diane at the rec department she's picked this up, and she's just ran with it, and she's doing an absolutely phenomenal job. So kudos to her.
It is amazing what has transpired over the last decade. And to answer your question, yes, I have been out there. I have a couple of young scouts, and they like to have a lot of scouting activities out there at the lake. So I've done my fair share of walking.
Diane mentioned too, and I guess I'll point this out. She mentioned at our retreat a few weeks ago that the company that we use, that we partner with for the kayaks, we're one of the top 10 kayak rental locations for that particular company that they have in the nation. So, awesome. And our kayak rentals got started about 60 days later than we had hoped. And had we had another 60 days of rentals last spring, we might have been in the top 5. So, that's pretty cool, really, when you think about it. So exciting that people are actually using the canoes, are using the kayaks quite a bit out there at Lake Charleston. So that's been great too.
Great to hear about the feedback of how things are being utilized, and obviously the usage of the lake down here on the southern part of Charleston. We're talking the city of Charleston here on this next to last Monday here, 2024, here on Issues and Attitudes. Rameen Karbassioon filling in for Jeff Owens. Sidewalk work has been pretty noticeable in the city of Charleston, and I know there's the work that's going to be done on Douglas. I want to first talk about Lover's Lane. People are listening out there. Lover's Lane, is that a real thing in the city? It is. It's one that I actually use a lot because I have a second grader at Carl Sandburg, and wow, gentlemen, the road is wider, and now there is a bike lane. So talk about all the work that has been completed on Lover's Lane.
So Lover's Lane has been something that's been on our radar for a long, long time, and of course, our crews had intended to do a little bit more work on Douglas, and just with scheduling and the contractors and the bid letting and everything being bumped back just a few months, it put us in a position where we had a little bit of time that we could get in and maybe put a project together and get something done on Lover's Lane. So Kurt Busher and his team went to work on that, came to me with a proposal, and I said, yeah, let's run with it. And so Steve Pamperin and I met with Kurt, and they put a project together, and there within a 60, 90-day period, we've got a beautiful new segment of paved roadway between Reynolds Drive. It picks up Cortland and Seneca, and then runs all the way over to University. And as you indicated, we put a widened path through there, and we also put a walking bike lane on the south edge of that. We've got more work to do because we're going to be installing some lighting down through there that'll look very much like what we've done out at Lake Charleston, that will light that, and then we'll also improve that little segment there that's kind of rock. There's ditches on both sides from where we stop paving on up into Reynolds a little bit further up both sides.
I know we're devoting a couple minutes here to one of the shorter streets in the city of Charleston, but it is a road that is used a lot,
Very
and
heavily
especially
traveled.
if you are one of those parents that has a kid and you want to take that shortcut to Carl Sandburg. The road is, I think, I don't know if exactly double the width, but it appears and feels like that when I've driven on
Yeah.
it recently.
There are a lot of people that walk, and they would walk up on the street
Yes,
because there was no way.
and walking their dog too.
Right, nowhere else to walk. And so for a lot of reasons, one, it's part of that connectivity to the bike lanes, the bike paths, the walking paths, the trails, having better access from those neighborhoods over to the west side to get over to the path that we just created off of University up
Right.
onto the trail at EIU, and then ultimately get you over to Linder, get you out to the Lake Trail path, and
Yeah.
then further on down to the work that Grand Prairie Friends is doing south of us. So there's it's real easy to get from Mattoon on the bike path through Charleston, through and navigate down through campus, and then out to Linder, to the lake, and then on further south to the work that Grand Prairie's doing. So there's a great opportunity for people on whether they're walking, biking, to really use a lot of these outdoor trails, and they're interconnected. And that's really what the vision was.
Got about 10, 12 minutes left with Scott and Brandon from the city of Charleston again as we wrap up Issues and Attitudes here for 2024 here on Hitmix 88.9 WEIU. Let's talk about the GOVTC network. What is that?
So that's the GovTC network, and EIU is a partner in that. So the university here, along with Lakeland College, the cities of Mattoon and Charleston, and the county, and we also partner with the 911 telecom system out here at 911 CCOM. We're all partners in what we commonly refer to as the GovTC network, and it is a consortium of all those governmental entities that came together. We created a separate board, a separate entity, if you will. All those entities fund the operation of the GovTC, and then we share in the benefits of having a shared tower, shared vision for communication, for backup, improved internet speed, the ability to put communication systems on this network of towers. And so we've got the new tower up, and I think I sent pictures of that.
Yeah.
They're just behind the street shed, the Public Works building, if you will, up north off of Atkins Drive there. And so that's the first of several phases
Right.
of what we see as a long-term vision for intercommunications between those governmental entities. But just having the access and the high-speed capabilities, and then being able to share resources between all those governmental entities is so important today. And so it does provide a lot of opportunities for all the entities to partner.
And the map some of the pictures that we're hoping to show during this episode that encompasses the whole county. So
Correct.
This is a wide-reaching thing.
Correct.
It's really important for first responders, too.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Oh,
that's-
yes.
That's a big, it's
We
gonna
had
be a
parts
big
of
deal.
parts of the county where both ourselves and maybe even Mattoon or some of the other policing entities, and obviously with our EMS paramedics and everything else, would get into parts of the county where the communications just really were not great, and that creates a problem for us and as well as for the patients and everybody else that we're working for. And so we're really, really excited to get the digital radios
Yes.
rolled out, and so that's going to help police and fire and just all the things that Mark Harris is working on for us to improve communications. I mean, we're really impressed with Mark's abilities to do a lot of this single-handedly for everybody
Right.
in the county. So we're all very fortunate to have Mark, and Mark's doing a great job with that.
Last thing before we dive into kind of a rapid fire catch up on Charleston businesses, the wastewater plant is going green.
Yeah, so we've capitalized on a solar farm project. Kurt Busher really worked hard on this, and so put together a project that the council ultimately supported. And there's two legs of that. When you look at if you look at the drawings and the pictures that I sent you, there's really two projects in one area. It is one large solar farm, but it's broken into two projects. One of the larger projects of the two is providing power to the plant or the plant operations to the west of the farm.
Right.
And this solar farm is located just north of our fire training facility. So when you drive by that area, and I know it's kind of off the beaten path, but it's directly across from landscape waste and just north of the fire training facility. And then there's a small portion of that farm that is helping provide electrical power to fund the what I call the lower plant, where the pump station is and all that. Portion of the power for the farm is helping to provide electrical power for that area.
Okay, very good. Let's dive into Charleston businesses here as we are at the end of 2024, moving into 2025. And if I could channel the way Jeff Owens probably would ask this question to you guys, people out there are probably wondering what's next for the KFC building there near Walmart.
Well, I know there's been some scuttle on chatter on Facebook and some of the social media sites. The company that owns the property did go, and they kind of do what's a typical. And I noticed when I was in Mattoon yesterday, they did the same thing in Mattoon. They whitewashed the property. And really what that does is that's really intended to, again, eliminate the former KFC striping package that they had on the building and make it more of just a white box. It makes it easier for an incoming leaseholder to paint or remodel. Versus,
generic.
Right. And I don't know, because obviously we don't see the lease terms. There may have been something in there where KFC may have had some obligation or responsibility to do that upon terminating their lease. So we don't have anything specifically with respect to what's going in that location at this time. But we're hoping that it's at such a good location there out in front of Walmart that it's a
prime spot.
Prime spot, yeah.
Like with all the upcoming holiday basketball tournaments, TBD. So we'll follow up on that as time allows it. Probably the most noticeable thing being worked on right now on Lincoln Avenue would be location number 2 for another Huck's in Charleston, and it's making good progress there. Give us a timeline of estimated completion. It looks like it's coming together.
They're killing it. I mean, they're getting on top of it really fast. And when we first met, and not everyone understands, I know there for a while there was a lot of stuff going around. I don't do social media, but there was a lot of things going around on social media that people had asked me about. It's not happening. It's not coming. Sometimes when these things happen at the city, it takes time.
Yes.
Okay. And there's a lot of times where we'll have meetings with these companies or these groups, and they don't want us to say anything.
Right.
So we just have to sit back and take the beating. It was, the city's not allowing them to come. The city's not doing this or that. No. It was coming. But these conversations, Rameen, started pre-COVID with them, and when I first met with them in my office.
The idea.
Yes. So then they got the property, they tore it down, and then it just takes time. But the fact that they want another location here is huge. One, the way this facility is going to be, the way it's going to look, it's amazing. And the one on the north side of town is one of the busiest Hucks in downstate Illinois.
Oh, absolutely.
They've told us that. I mean, it legitimately is.
I know it.
Yeah. I mean,
the traffic out of there is insane.
It is. And these bigger gas station footprints, I mean, much like Lambo's, what Mike Lamman did, that's a huge, I mean, when you drive by there with the lights and the way that he did that and had it done, it's done right, and it's got that bigger footprint. It looks great. That's what you're starting to see when you travel around and you see these different gas stations. So I mean, now we've got 2 new state-of-the-art, I mean, gas stations, and the thing that they're able to offer, I mean, delis and all this other stuff. It's great.
We've come a long way from just your basic get some gas and
from when I worked at Citgo all the way through where Revival City is. I worked there for 4.5 years on Eastern.
I probably spend just as much money on gas as I do munchies and cold soda.
Yeah.
In our last 4 minutes with you, gentlemen, any other business things that you can tell us about as 2025 is right here?
Well, we're obviously excited too, about the prospect or the possibilities of the pickleball indoor facility and kind of the refresh of the former Walmart complex. And so Zach is the property owners, the folks that hold title to that property have been working closely with our staff and several different renditions on that site. But we are excited about that. I know that you can vision out maybe another year or two to where we could potentially have an indoor space for pickleball along with our facility out at Linder, and think about some opportunities for tournaments and different regional events and things that we could do there. So that's something that we're watching.
If I can interject for just a second, that facility, that location, City of Charleston, has been one of a lot of water cooler talk. I know Jeff Owens is probably asked on this. How refreshing is it, gentlemen, to see something happening?
Yes.
It's huge. And I'm extremely thankful to Zach. I mean, he's been great to work with. And the investment that he's wanting to do in the community out there and the way that he's, I mean, hats off. And like Scott said, I mean, I think they even put it in the paper.
Yeah.
You know, we could end up being a pickleball hub, but at the same time, it's the investment that these people are putting in this community. Obviously, they see the you know, something positive in our community and working here and bringing new things to it. So that's something I'm really excited about.
They see us for opportunity, and I think that's great. And while pickleball will be, I guess, sort of their primary business in that portion of the facility, there's other opportunities that they're going to try to do for kids and families and have rentals and do some cool stuff in there. And then the food element, you know, and then, you know, the possibility of tournaments and other indoor activities and all the things they're talking about doing in there. Pretty cool space, really.
He's got a good vision.
Yeah.
Very good. I know here in the last couple of minutes with Dr. Brandon Combs and Scott Smith, City of Charleston, here on Issues and Attitudes. I don't want to steal the thunder of maybe you coming on, Scott, before you retire. And I know I'd like to have you on WEIU City Spotlight down the road. But as we turn the calendar, and I sometimes like to ask on that particular program, New Year, what are you guys thankful for in the City of Charleston in the New Year? Whoever wants to go first.
Honestly, I think I say this every year at this time, but my first thing I'm extremely thankful for is the guy sitting to the left of me. Been with the city for so long, and we just had our city retreat, and in front of all the directors, I said this. I'll try not to do it with tears in my eyes, but at the same time, the city of Charleston owes Scott a lot. They do not work with him day to day like I've had the absolute pleasure to do for the last 12 years. And it's just been a joy, and it's going to be a hard thing when he does decide that, okay, I'm done. But I'm extremely thankful for him. And honestly, all the people at the city, I mean, all this growth and everything else that goes on, people will come up to me and they'll be like, oh, as the mayor, how's it feel? As Brandon, okay, as someone who grew up in this community, it feels great. I just so happen to be the mayor, but none of this would happen without Scott and the team that we have. We have an absolutely phenomenal team at the city of Charleston, and I will put any of our people up against anybody to get things done. And they make this job worth the headache that it brings on sometimes. So much so that I said it was going to be done. I'm not. I'm running for another 4 years. And I said after 12 I was going to go out with Scott. And now and that's been our plan for a long time. And then now I'm sticking around for another 4 years, and it's because of the things that Scott has helped and put us through. And we have such a great council too. I mean, very supportive of the things that we want. They see the vision that we want to go.
Scott, I would give you a chance to speak, but we're in our final seconds here. And Brandon, congratulations on coming up on a decade of being mayor of your hometown.
Yeah,
it's been great. Good ride.
Well, we hope to have both of you gentlemen on in the future with the regular host, Jeff Owens. But it's been a pleasure talking with Dr. Brandon Combs, Scott Smith, City of Charleston. Happy New Year, gentlemen.
Thank you. Same to you.
Yep.
Happy holidays. This has been Issues and Attitudes here on Hitmix 88.9 WEIU.